Breeze Nation, what's good? Pat the
Why
designer.
did you clap if we're going live?
You said we're not live.
It clearly says live in the corner.
We're not live.
Okay.
Why do you do this every time? Every time.
I'm about to say, normally it just says recording. That says live.
Hey, mine says recording, so you must be in the live section. But hey, man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love to another episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. It's your boy Pat the designer back at it again, joined by the pettiest man alive, Mr. P.Kidd in the building.
Gang.
Kid, what's good with you, man? What's good?
Hey, man, listen, I know I might be tripping sometimes, but that don't say record like it normally do. That says live.
You probably went into the start with studio you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, whether we live or not, I don't care. Like, listen, we're gonna have a great show regardless. But I just letting you know that things say live here. So if this is streaming on YouTube right now, welcome. So that's all I got to say about that, man. Let's have a good show.
Hey, man, it's Bears-Packers week. We got football to talk about. We got predictions to make. I'm not making my Bears-Packers prediction just yet, but interesting takeaways. Bears right now a 1-point favorite. I expect that to pretty much change a little bit during the week. And we'll see kind of what the Bears are running into this season with and what some of our expectations are. Also, got to give our predictions on not just the divisions, that who's going to be the winners, who's going to be the losers, all that good stuff, but our struggle of the year and our locks for greatness. What does that mean, Pat? Basically, who's going to suck and who's going to be dope this year. That's pretty much what it comes down to. All that more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and rocking with us. I know I wasn't supposed to be doing nothing today, but I left my mic here, so I might as well.
It's like I can't just be here and not record.
I literally have done 3 shows since I've been here just because I was like, I wasn't going to record anything, but I left my mic here, so now I might as well record. Let's jump into this, man. Right off the bat, Bears versus Packers. Love the week. So much excitement around this. I mean, I think the biggest thing coming into this week is an opportunity to start things off where you can take a leg up in the division. What a 1-game leg up, whatever it is, right? Still a leg up, getting off to a good start. Really excited about this week coming in. I think the main storyline that everybody's going to be watching for is the question mark. Was it worth it to not play Justin Fields in preseason ahead of this game? As important as many Bears fans, as it seems the people in the organization think this game is that going to be the right call? What system is, or how well is Justin Fields going to run the system? Is he going to be able to jump back into it? That's some of the biggest things I think heading into this Packers week. Most people are probably going to be looking out for. And is Jordan Love good? I mean, I think that's Jordan the main. Love good. If Jordan Love come out here and cooks us,
bro. And it's going to be even worse because Matty E is a defensive coach, so like. He's like, you have like double the help right there because you know, I do be kind of hating on Allen Williams a little bit. Like I'd be like, but you know, I'm gonna give him some leeway. You know,
I think this is a big year for all the coaches to show what they got right at the end of the day. This is going to be a very pivotal year in the development of who these guys are. The one thing that we can say is, and that we've talked about, right? We asked last season, did guys get better? Guys got better last year, right? The guys we wanted to see, Justin Fields got better throughout the year. You know, the run game continued to improve throughout the year, even though that was mostly Justin Fields. On the defensive side, right? Like there's a couple of names that we can be like, okay, I like Eddie Jackson made a bounce back. The rookies you brought in got better throughout the year. That's something we couldn't say when Matt Nagy was here. And so I give him credit for that. But just heading into this Bears-Packers week, I think, you know, me and you had the debate on the importance of what this week is, and we're on kind of different ends of it. For me, I think that this is a very important week to start things off. For you kind of stand on the side of it's another game, but I'd like to win. But it's another game at the end of the day. It's game 1 of a 17-game season. I just think this is an opportunity where the part that we don't see is this is your opportunity to start a run. In 05-06, when the Bears end up going on to the Super Bowl, I'm not saying that's going to happen this season. It started with proving to yourself that you had slayed the beast. Now, granted, the beast that year was still Brett Favre. It was still a dominant Brett Favre. It was still a dominant player. But I just see this as an opportunity to kind of say, even though Aaron Rodgers isn't there, most people still don't believe we're going to go in there and beat the Packers.
Yeah. I'm looking at the schedule right now. That's why I'm pulling up real quick. And you know what? I can see why you would say somewhat of a run. I think that the chances of us going on a run happen after the Chiefs game. I think that lines up a little better for us to go on a run.
That depends on when Chris Jones is healthy, though. Or when Chris Jones is signed, I should say, not healthy. He's on the pup, but like when Chris Jones is signed.
Yeah, let's be real about that one. But I mean, I don't think he's going to be there by week 3. Now that's speculation, I know, but like, okay, I'm praying he's not there for week 3.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
So,
I like Justin.
But anything after the Chiefs game, I think we have a good segment, a good stretch where we could go on a run. A run for me is at least 3-4 games. What would you consider a run?
I mean, in the NFL, right? You get 3 games in a row. That's a run. I mean,
that's a run.
That's 3 weeks in a row. That's almost a month of you. You won a month, basically. You won that month.
So I'm looking at that. I'm looking at our chance to dominate 3 weeks in a row come after the Chiefs game because I said Chiefs because you have Broncos, we have Commanders, we have Vikings, who I think we're going to beat, and we have Raiders right before we go to see the Chargers, which I think is ultimately they just have more talent right there. So I think that's our gap to make a real big run. Outside of that, then we end up with the Saints. I think we're going to split with the Lions and things of that nature. So I see it afterwards. As far as going back to the statement about what this means, it's not just another game. I get that. I'm more the lines of I just want to see real development. We haven't seen a lot throughout this preseason. We didn't see anything really in this preseason. We saw DJ Moore do exactly what we thought DJ Moore was going to do. If we're able to give him the ball, he's gonna make a play. I mean, great. So now we see what we traded for. That was beautiful. But we didn't see anything from Justin or anything like that. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at that QB battle right there. And ultimately, is the win what I want? Yeah. But if we lose to the Packers and it's a really close game, and all of a sudden, Justin Fields looks like everything we wanted him to look like.
If something else besides the offense is the reason that
pretty much because we can't control everything, right? You can't. The offense doesn't play defense. Something can happen. Green Bay could have some miraculous play. Those things happen in the game of sports. But how did you look in the process of this? Because that's what we're evaluating. I don't know why Poe's really they're still evaluating this team. So okay, against our best competition, against our rivals, how did you look? They've been mud stopping us for the last decade.
Yeah.
How did you look? Did you look better than you've ever looked? Great. Let's roll with that. Now let's go on a run. I'm not necessarily so tied to the fact I understand the double loss and all that stuff. But again, we're like 22-5 against this team in the last, how many years?
I mean, how far you want to go back?
I think 2025 is 22-5 is just
22-5 is record. Over, I believe, the last 10 years. That's basically just Aaron Rodgers' record. Well, no, that's 15 years. How long was he in Green Bay? 15 years? 20 years?
What was it before?
However long he was there.
Like, how long did Brett dominate us?
I mean, that's since 98.
Right. So, seriously, let's be real. We ain't won a whole lot of these matchups. And a lot of these matchups, we got curb stomped. I looked it up. We did. It didn't look all that great, right? So let's just stick to evaluating Justin. Evaluating that, because I don't care what anyone says. I know that Justin is not the whole team. Yeah, say that to any other team that was just one quarterback away. Say that to the Jets when they had Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it still comes down to an evaluation of Justin Fields. I think most Bears fans will feel good if you finished out this season with 8 wins, but you knew Justin Fields was your franchise quarterback. But I think it just starts. I want to know mindset. That's my biggest thing that I want to know coming into this, right? If your mindset is what your quarterback's mindset is, because Justin Fields has said this, and you've seen it on his face. He wants to beat this team. He wants to win versus the Packers. He wants to prove his dominance, and that Packers team is the team that really has held him out, right? Like, what is he? 1-3 against the Lions, I think.
I'm gonna look that up while you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up for you. I know that we've beaten the Vikings in his time here. I don't know if he was starting in that game, but I just you look at those games and you're just listen, it's time for you to start winning the division. You can struggle as a team, as a whole, versus the league, but if you can't win your division, you don't have a shot. So it's time for you to start winning your division. And realistically, I think that this starts now. And it really goes to tell me, right, there's a lot of things that we've looked at in the offseason with, the hits principle. And we've talked about the injury and guys who are playing through or aren't playing through. And your mindset is to me explained in week 1. And it's the biggest thing I want to see from this Bears team as a whole, because I think that's the number one thing that you can prove. Yeah, maybe this is just week 1 of the season, but for us, this wasn't just week 1 of the season. This was, I take, right, Colorado
against the Packers, by the way.
You said what?
0-4 against the Packers.
0-4 against the Packers. That's what I figured. He hasn't beat them yet. With Aaron Rodgers.
We had a really good game. 30-45. Never mind.
Yeah. But I look at, to me, realistically, think about the TCU loss to Colorado over the weekend, right? And how is that one game? 100%. Does that mean Colorado's going to go off and be in the FCS championship? Not at all. But what it is Colorado came in with a mindset that they were willing to set in game 1. Colorado came out with a mindset that they were willing to attack with in game 1. And Deion Sanders right there with them, right? Shedeur Sanders putting that mindset onto the field. Shiloh on the other side, Travis Hunter. There's a mindset that you can set in week 1, and that's what I want to see the Chicago Bears come out of this Packers game with. I want it to be, hey, yeah, maybe we did lose, but we lost by beating every drum that we could beat to try and get to a victory. Or we lost off of, we played well, but something fluky happened and the refs gave them this, something crazy, right? Like, I don't want to come out of this game and sit here talking again about, the Bears lost this game because they got outplayed. There's no way you should be getting outplayed. Yes, Jordan Love has been in the league longer. He's been able to sit behind, but Justin Fields in year 2 of this system, he's got better weapons. He don't have a better offensive line. That offensive line on Green Bay.
That's a good thing to evaluate right there. Yeah. And I feel that part in the sense of, we have so many moving pieces in regards to that. How does this line going to look? Green Bay has a decent defense, but that's not the best defense we're going to face this particular season. I don't believe, as far as the last ranking I looked at. It
depends on if they finally start hitting with some of these young players. I mean, their system has been a joke the entire time, pretty much.
But this is redemption for Justin Fields all the way around. We have a losing record against all the divisional teams, but him as the quarterback.
Yeah. He beat the Vikings one time, basically?
No, he hasn't beat the Vikings at all. I only see 2 games with him versus the Vikings.
So we might have beat him with somebody else, and it might have beat him with somebody else. Like
that. He's only registering stats from what I'm looking at. This is StatMuse also put up Pro Football. I don't see it. If I overlooked it, my fault. But that's what I saw. So I'm going off of that. He hasn't beat him. 1-2 against Detroit. Detroit actually beat us like 41-10.
Yeah, that's the first game last year.
It was a bad game. And of course, we just saw 4-0 against the Packers. And so now it's like, hey, this is a retool Bears, retool system. There are still some deficiencies, which is why I'm telling people not to put a whole lot of pressure on this one game. We got to see this team again later this season. And I think that game may end up having more weight because it's going to be at the end of the season where we face all of our divisions. We face the Lions, Vikings, and Packers really within that same month.
I'm really hoping the game means absolutely nothing because the Bears got a playoff spot locked up already. You know what I mean? Like, realistically.
Well, considering what everyone has, and I'm with you on that one, but considering what everyone has us ranking as far as what our record would be,
it's probably going to
be real close. And those games are going to matter so much more because everyone expecting the Vikings to kind of fold a little bit, but if let's just say they go from 13, what was they, 13-4, 13-3, whatever it was.
Have 7.
13 and what?
They were 13-4. I think they're gonna have 7 wins this year.
But let's just say they drop 3 games. They win 10 games. Let's just say the Lions win. They earn an extra game. Most people have us around 8 or 9 games.
Yeah, we all gonna be in.
We're all right there. So like those games, I know they all matter, but the ones toward the end of the season may matter more because the Vikings have a harder schedule where I think they're gonna drop some games. The Lions have a relatively easy schedule. I don't know how that happened. They have a relatively easy schedule from that. We're looking at it, just how those teams are shaped up so far. And so I know that those games are going to matter more, plus just the momentum carrying into it, So I can see us etching out a wild card spot simply because I think the Vikings got worse. I think Green Bay is a huge anomaly. I think they're going to be very up and down. And Well, I'm hoping they're going to be very up and down. And I don't think Detroit is as much of a lock as most people would think they are. I think they're going to do Detroit things. They're going to have
I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel bad that I hope it, but God, I hope that the Lions come out here and they a 6-win team and they just terrible to hope, because I just love, there's something about, right, seeing Detroit get so excited about 1 year where they didn't make the playoffs. Man.
Yeah, they're really loud about it. And it's interesting. Like, I love the fact that they've been mid so much, and how they're doing it. Like, they're doing it with Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Like, to see Jared, like, it's a whole different, a lot of storylines over there too that you can sit there and write home about and things of that nature. But like, they're really loud. Like, I think there's going to be the loudest 8-win season I've ever seen.
I hope so. I ain't gonna lie to you, because to me it's one of those. Y'all know I got standing beef with Detroit. It's Chicago over everybody, man. Detroit.
Is Detroit a township or
it's a municipality, bro? It's not even. I don't think they got enough money to even be called a township anymore. It's unincorporated Michigan. That's what it is right now. But
you do have like this. I don't even know where this beef came from. I think you was watching the Detroit Pistons versus Detroit game.
Chicago versus Detroit since Jordan. Yeah, I mean, it's been really before that, but really since Jordan. Yeah, I mean,
but every time the Bulls ran through in recent history, Zach, that seems to be Zach's best game. He dropped 43 every time you see them.
Yeah, it's not even worth mentioning because they so trash. But I mean, at the end of the day, listen, Monty Williams, who cares? That's gonna fix that. That's gonna fix the poverty they got going up there. I doubt it. But I just think at the end of the day, when you look at, like with Detroit. It is a prove it to me. It is I gotta see it. It is you know what I mean? Because I've seen this story before. And realistically, I saw it with a better quarterback. I've seen this with and a better wide receiver.
Okay.
No one would ever question that Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff are not better than Matt Stafford and Megatron. But with all that being said, yes, I saw it with those two guys. This Detroit team is a better team. This offensive line is way better.
It's a better collective of talent.
The biggest question on Detroit is going to be the defense this year. Mm-hmm. I really believe that because, yes, you went out and got bodies, but and I do think that you got a better pass rush in general, but we're still talking about two dudes. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of question marks on this Detroit team to me as far as the defense is going to be. And realistically, right, you're coming into this. They got their first game this Thursday on Amazon, and they have to figure out how to beat the Chiefs week 1 when they raising a banner.
You know what? I'm so excited for that game because I like what their coach is doing. Their coach is really trying to get them amped up. He's like, hey, they put us there because they think we're going to roll over. We're not going to roll over. And I actually want them to roll in there and win that game. And here's the thing, just simply because I do believe the NFL tried to make it so that the Chiefs had an easy game. I do feel that way. I do feel like when they made that schedule, it's like, oh, it's the Lions.
I don't know if I feel that. I feel like you wanted a high-powered offense game. I mean, Detroit and Kansas City were two of the highest-powered offenses in the NFL last season. So I think that was more the storyline that you wanted there. The question is Detroit going to live up to that hype? Is Jared Goff going to go out there, play day one, and be that same guy? You know what I mean? That's the real question. And you know how the NFL is week to week. The world could end.
Yeah.
Like Jared Goff go out there and throw 2 interceptions. It's the worst thing in the world. He come out there and he
4 touchdowns. He's better than Patrick Mahomes.
Oh my God. I mean, we saw him dominate him already. It's like, hey, bro, he's been to 6 AFC championships.
We told you.
3 Super Bowls. Yeah, you know what I mean?
And they traded him away too soon. We got him. No.
Hey, meanwhile, every time I bring up something about Justin Herbert, I'm the one that's clowning him, but yet he can't get out the first round without making a mistake every second of the way. Anyway, man, hey, appreciate you guys tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page.
I gotta say this. You ever looked at that boy's stats?
Oh yeah, they're ridiculous.
That boy is on a Dan Marino-ish run. If we want to say, I say that because someone just mentioned that Dan Marino was the greatest QB ever.
Yeah, Steve Young.
Yeah, I know. I love Steve Young. I really do. But Jesus, but that's Justin Herbert has 14,000 yards over 3 seasons.
Hey, bro, no kill Phil.
That man is slinging that pill. He don't, and they toned his passing down last season. They said that man out there
that's Phillip Rivers-esque, bro. You know what he is, baby. You already know what he bringing to the game.
Ownership saw him like long-haired.
Hey, and that second half versus Jacksonville said it all. Everybody want to be like, oh man, the defense didn't help him at all either. If he scores one more touchdown, they win the game. Like,
I do have to give him credit that the defense didn't help him at all.
Hey, if he scores one more touchdown, they win the game. Heck, if you got in position for 2 more extra points.
Just a field goal, huh? Whatever. That being said, man, let's move on to the next topic. I know we want to break down some of the things you mentioned. This one in particular, and I ain't gonna steal your thunder. You were bringing on the fact of who was a lock and who was not. Introduce that to the fans.
So
man.
basically, these are our locks for the years, right? Our lock for greatness and our struggle of the year, right? The teams and players who were great last year that we think are going to fall off, and the teams that were mid or awful last season that we think are going to take that next step. Could be a player as well. I've got player on some of mine, but I crack it all. Let's get it. My lock for greatness this season, I'm not going to lie to you. It's pretty simple. They were mid last season, but they had all the right pieces except one. Let me get JETS, Jets. I hate it because Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers, and it pisses me off to no end. But I think that is the one team that I look at from last season that, I mean, listen, you basically struggled in the run game. You had no quarterback. It seemed like you had the wide receivers. You got the defensive line. Yep. Still some issues on the offensive line. I'm not going to lie to you. Still a lot of question marks there, which could lead to a struggle for Aaron Rodgers. But you also got Dalvin Cook in there. We know what Aaron Rodgers has done with less. I think that the Jets are going to be a team that we're going to be talking about as a Super Bowl candidate team. And I think that the last time that we've seen a team, I saw this on First Take today, there's been 2 teams that have added major pieces or Pro Bowl pieces that have been in the Pro Bowl in the last 4 years. And it's the 2000 Ravens. They added Shannon Sharp and I can't think of the tight end's name. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Both times they won the Super Bowl that season.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I think Aaron Rodgers is heading towards a Super Bowl competition. I don't know if he's going to end up winning it, but that's with a lot of tough competition in the NFC as well, or the AFC as well.
I'm going to go in a different route. I would have said the Bears, but I think that's kind of a given, being that we're Chicago centric sport podcast. Excuse me. I don't know why.
Whatever we call this thing.
Hey, listen, I just had a stroke right there. Forgive me. So I'm going to go a completely different way, just like you did. I'm going to say the Saints, and I'm going to say the Saints for one reason. Their schedule and the teams that they're facing.
No. Say the name. Say the name. No, you're not shying away from this.
The Saints. Because they have an easy schedule. It has nothing to do with the fact that I think Derek Carr is a better QB than most people think he is. Anyway, I'm going to go to Saints simply because if you look at their teams that they have to face, they have to play the Titans. Yeah. No one believes in the Titans right now.
D-Hop, DeAndre, or Derrick Henry. Pretty, it's not like.
Is Derrick Henry going to play for week 1?
Week 1? I don't know. Is Derrick
Will Compton just retired?
Derrick Henry dealing with the injury that I missed or something like that?
I don't know. I saw him as questionable.
Derrick Henry's always dealing with an injury, technically.
But then they have the Panthers. They got Green Bay, Bucks, Patriots, Texans, Jack. They have a relatively easy schedule.
Yeah.
So because of that, and because they've made some moves, I think they're going to go from the bottom of the pack to a more. I think they're just going to rise. I don't know if it's going to be meteoric, but I do think that they're going to do a lot better than they did last season. I also think the Patriots are going to be better than they were last season. I think they are finally doing what they should have done. They eliminated the QB competition, which was stupid.
Yeah.
They did hire OC. I think they're just going to be a more poised and well put together team. Whether you all believe in Mac Jones or not, totally irrelevant. We know that the Patriots and Bill can coach when he finally gets his head out of his behind at times. And he tried it one way, didn't work. Now he's going to do it the way I expect them to be better and just to be they're the Spurs of the NFL.
Now, I will say this. The Saints are the definition of mid last season, right? They were 7-10. If healthy, I will agree with you that I believe that this Saints team probably can sweep their division.
They have the potential.
I don't believe in the Falcons. I like Bijan, but you can't run Bijan every play. Panthers, I think, are going to take a step back as well. And Tampa Bay, listen, it's Baker. They'll probably be right where they were last season, 8-9. They're probably fighting for, a wild card spot at the end of the year. But I can see the Saints. I can see the Saints being 8-0 in their division and going out there and winning 4 games outside of that. That's a 12-win season. And it don't even mean that they're great. It just means that, listen, our division is god awful. We can't help but beat up on these mugs. So I can see the Saints. That's a good one. So that's your lock for greatness there. Let's talk about our struggle of the year. Because there's some struggles out here, brother. It's funny because technically every team is in the middle outside of your top 5. But I think the struggle. You said what?
No, you're right.
I mean, for the most part, right? I mean, you think about this, right? The Seahawks were cool. They're 9-8, though. The Buccaneers made the playoffs. They 8-9. The Lions were fighting for a playoff spot, and they, oh my God, I love these guys. They're 9-8. The Cowboys, they're 12-5 last season. Giants are right there. They make the playoffs as well. They're 9-7. Yeah, I mean, so nobody's like, oh my God. You got your top 5-6 teams, and then it kind of falls off from there. But I think my team I've got my lock to struggle. And I don't even know if I said this on the Chicago Bears podcast because we did this over there as well. But listen, man. The Minnesota Vikings are not good. I don't know how many times I got to say this. That was a fraud team last season. They got it proven the second that they got into the playoffs and the Giants come out and beat them. They have a defense that's basically non-existent. Your only pass rusher is Danielle Hunter. We here in Chicago understand what it's like when you have one pass rusher to try and go out there and make a play. You end up getting double, triple team. Guess what? I know how to stop that. Even the Bears offensive line can slow that down. I think that Justin Jefferson's your number one weapon. He's an unstoppable weapon. Kirk Cousins will look good because of him. And, he'll be able to go out there and make plays. I think Jordan Addison is a really good receiver. I think that Kirk Cousins is going to have trouble staying upright because I don't think his offensive line is going to protect him. I think the DBs there are old, and that's the nice way to say it. And I don't have a belief in this Vikings team at all. I think this Vikings team at best is a 7-win team coming into this season. I think they are my lock for struggle of the year. I think we'll get to halfway through the season and they will make their decision on Kirk Cousins because they want to be in a position to go out and get a quarterback next season. And you can't do that winning 7 games. Unless you trade up. I mean, realistically, the Panthers also won 7 games last year and they got the number 1 pick. But
you know what? I can't disagree with that. There's a whole lot of things going on there. The whole Kirk Cousins situation and them not really talking about his contract and stuff like that. And this doesn't mean that he's not good, but he's probably not the QB that they need to move forward.
Yep.
I can get it. And they may be one younger or mobile QB away from having it entirely, maybe being champions. Who knows? I think they have some offensive weapons there. They do need line work. I agree with you 110%. That's one of the teams I can see struggling this season. And if they surprise us, then they surprise us. They surprised us last season. But I can get with that.
We all were surprised. Like every game, we were just like, how did they do this?
Yeah. I'm going to say this. I'm going to kind of cheat. I'm going to go 2 teams. Colts, for one. I don't know what Jim Irsay is doing.
Well, they weren't good last season either. It's supposed to be a team that was decent last season or good that was trash. That'll be trash this year. They was 4-win team.
They were a 4-win team, but that's literally riding on the coattails of your running back, right?
Yeah.
And your running back produced. Now, again, maybe not paying him, top of the line. I don't know what money he was asking for, but I know he just paid a kicker a lot of money. And that, to me, was just like, yo, timeout. That's a slap in the face. Realistically, that's a slap in the face. And so I don't know what's happening there. I do know this. He has a project.
That's an interesting question. Does your kicker have more value than your running back, though?
No.
But how many dudes can make 55-plus yard kicks?
That's true. I give you that.
How many dudes can run behind a good offensive line?
I give you that. When your entire
that's just me bringing that up. That's not me trying to bring a slap in the face.
I don't know. I think you try to stir the pot a little too much right there, my boy. Hold on now.
Right? Hey, Yurko, no matter what the topic is, will find a way to slap running backs in the face. I'm not gonna lie to you. It makes me laugh every time. I'd be like, they didn't deserve that one. They had no reason.
Hey, right now you're doing this is a very Yurkerish take right now.
Hey, bro, but I'm just asking you a question. How many dudes can make 50+ yard kicks in the NFL versus how many dudes can run for 5 yards a carry?
I think it's a great point. The only thing is it's a great point. I can't take that away from you, right? But I think if you really look at the purity of it all, your running back allows your QB to be successful. In fact, and this is really a fact. A lot of young QBs, especially those you think are going to struggle, when you have a good run game, you allow them to breathe a little bit more. Guess what? You take a lot of pressure off of them, and this allows you to develop. And so as far as impact on that, just not even from a scoring perspective, because, I mean, the highest score in NFL history is a kicker.
Is a kicker, and it always will be.
You're always will be, right? They're going to always score more points from that aspect.
Yes.
But as far as how they impact the game from a stance of how they influence the game, how they allow to take pressure off your QB and stuff like that, I don't think your kicker has as much impact as your running back does. By any means. And so, that's your runner is your safety blanket for your QB, especially if he's used on a check down, a lot of things of that nature. That's your safety blanket. So, that being said, there's a lot of interesting things there. They put Anthony Richardson in. He's going to start. That's still a project QB. He's a freak athlete, though. Don't get me wrong. Freak athlete, has a lot of physical.
He's Josh Allen.
Has a lot of physical gifts, right? I don't know how accurate he is. There's a lot of question marks there because even when he was, in college, he didn't have the best receivers around him. I don't know. No one really. I asked someone else that's like, who is his receivers? No one could really name them. So at that point, they just let you know, all right, this is going to be an interesting situation. So we'll see. I think they're going to struggle mainly because I think they need to have a good running back to pair with him to make it easier for him. Even look at what we do with Justin Fields. Our run game is good. Now, Justin is a part of that run game because of his mobility. Don't get me wrong. I think Anthony Richardson would do the same thing. But we still have good backs that are going to take that pressure off.
Be a different runner, though. I think that's the thing. That's the debate for Justin that it irritates me when people just say the Bears are going to be terrible. Yes, I want to know if Justin Fields can throw the football.
He has to throw the football.
He's got to throw the football. I'm with you. We talking about like 5 dudes in the NFL that run like Justin Fields in history as a quarterback.
Yeah.
That's it's still an asset that he's going to use. It's still it makes it like there's not this long list of dudes. You can sit there. Yes, you can go to all these guys that have run the football. Do they run a 4.4? Do they run a sub 4.4? How do they move when they're running? How do they get Justin Fields is running like a doggone wide receiver.
He is. I think
Lamar Jackson, right? As much as I want these guys to be passers, these guys are still special in what they do. And that makes Anthony Richardson don't run like that. Cam Newton didn't run like that. Cam Newton, if he got in the open space, was fast, but Cam Newton went through you.
Yeah.
A linebacker will meet Cam Newton head up and lose.
Yeah.
Justin Fields ain't that guy. He big, right? He can do that versus smaller dudes, but I don't want to see him doing that versus linebackers. He'll get put on his butt.
Yeah, I feel you.
But I just think that's the weird thing. Just kind of jumping back into Bears randomly. That's the part where Muzz are just oh, they're gonna be so much worse this season. It's how when we already know he can do something that literally scares the entire league because they put him on the top 100 list, and he got DJ Moore.
I think that it boils down to a lot of different things. And you know what? I forgot which particular show this was, but it was the one of these talking head shows. This guy made a really interesting point. Is that the reason why you don't want your QB to run as much and you want things is because continuity on your team. These other guys on that team get paid and they're incentivized to catch the ball.
Yeah.
Or to do certain things. When you eliminate that, then you eliminate the need or the ability to maintain or keep that level of talent. Why Lamar Jackson probably didn't have top of the line receivers around him because, yeah. Now that's a double-edged sword because one could sit there and say, well, you ain't invested in the first place, and the other side could sit there and say, well, you weren't gonna throw it to him in the first place.
Well, I think
that's a double-edged sword. I think
the conversation is more so, when do you win with those receivers? You usually don't go out there and pay a wide receiver the big money deal, and all of a sudden you're talking about a Super Bowl. You usually win with those dudes on that first contract when they're making the least amount of money. A lot of the teams that are successful, you just move on.
Yeah.
Oh, man, we'd love to have you here. We got you at this price. Hey, man, I'm one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. You absolutely are. But me paying you that means I can't pay the rest of this team that.
Yeah. And so that's one of those things.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
It's a double-edged sword. That being said, moving to a team that's like coming to the end of their run, if you want to call it a run, I think the Bills are going to struggle. I think the Bills are going to struggle.
It's a lot of talent in the AFC. That's an interesting one. I'm not mad at that. 13-3 last season. Dominant team. Great defense.
Dominant team.
Offense there.
But you got to get it done. And your window of getting that done is closing. And I think it's potentially closed. Because now, you look at how stacked it is over there. The Bills were the team that you worried about. The Bills were, hey, if anyone's going to beat a matchup against Patrick Mahomes and stuff like that, it's going to be Josh Allen.
I think he got passed last year, though.
Yeah.
I think Joe Burrow passed him up last year.
I think Joe Burrow passed him up. And then on top of that, let me see. I got to make sure somebody is not injured before I make
Here's just your quarterbacks in the AFC alone. To let y'all know how tough it's going to be. You got Josh Allen. You got Miami Dolphins got Tua. Jets have Aaron Rodgers. Bengals have Joe Burrow. Baltimore has Lamar Jackson. Cleveland has Deshaun Watson. Pittsburgh, I don't know if Kenny Pickett is going to be better this season, but he looks like he's improved a little bit in preseason. We'll see if he's Thoa Pickett or Mr. Pickett. But at worst, right, he's the fourth quarterback in that division. Jacksonville has Trevor Lawrence. Kansas City has Pat Mahomes. The Chargers have Justin Herbert. The Broncos have Russell Wilson. That's just the quarterbacks in that division.
And when I look at this, just even within their division, you could argue that they're not even the best team in their division anymore. If the Jets are who we think they are, if the Jets are who everyone's saying, if Aaron Rodgers has that impact and the Jets already had a good defense, it's very possible that the Jets are the best team in that division. AFCs. It's Jets, Bills, Dolphins, and Patriots.
That's tough for me because I feel like the Jets have, unfortunately, the toughest rivalry in that division because whether we believe it or not, right now, Aaron Rodgers is a part of the Jets versus Patriots rivalry. That's the biggest rivalry. I can't sit here and say that Bill Belichick can't come out and drop a game plan for you for 2 games a year, right? So maybe you split with the Patriots, in my opinion, out in the AFC East. Miami's going to be tough for you no matter what. It was tough for you last year. That defense is crazy as well, and you got 2 dominant players over there. I think at best you split with Miami. They might get swept by Miami. I think Buffalo stands a better chance versus both of those teams than the Jets do. But I do see the Jets, right? Like if you split all of them, you're doing okay. Right, you go 3-3 in the division. I think the Jets can win the rest of their schedule.
The Jets were 7-10 last season with Zach Wilson
and Mike White. Realistically, Mike White.
Mike White. Bills were 13-3. Obviously, we know that. The Dolphins were 9-8. Now Tua had injuries and stuff like that. Yep. Right. Patriots, even with their up and down, was 8-9. So Jets were at the bottom. Aaron Rodgers can get you 4 games with that team.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying he can't. No, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not. This is not this way. This is just what my thoughts are. So I think Aaron Rodgers, and I can't wait to see the Bills versus Jets. I can't wait to see it because I want to see what it looks like. Because if you look at it in his division, Josh Allen really wasn't playing nobody. Like, I'm not a huge believer in Tua. I just think he's a mid QB that gave good weapons to. I'm not a believer in Tua. I'm just not. I'm sorry. It just don't look good to me. If it's awkward, maybe it's the lefty throw. I don't know what it is, but that ball just seemed to linger in the air. I watched it. I went back and watched it. I tried to flip it, like Pat said, flip it. Dog, it just don't look good to me. Yeah. It's a beautiful pass, but it looked like I can put slow theme music behind it and be like dun 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 dun. like I don't know what it is, and it's not even hate. Like every time I see like that's what it looks like. It's like cinematic almost, but I don't listen. It's a personal bias. I'm gonna chalk it up to that. It's a personal bias. It's not anything against him. It's just the throwing mechanics, stuff like that. I don't see it. I just don't. Prove me wrong. Like I hope he has a long career simply because of the things he's dealing with. You know, I'm not that type of guy. But outside of that, let's be real.
Do judo to try and
you need to do something, dog.
Learn how to fall.
Extra padding or something. I don't know. But realistically, he ain't really playing no QBs in his division. In his conference, yes. Not in his division, though.
Oh, you talk about
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah. No, yeah.
Like 2 times, like against the Patriots with his defense and how powered their offense was, you could almost mark that as a win. Against the Jets, you could almost mark that as a win.
I love you some Mac, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. Patriots' biggest problem this season, and they just now reporting on this, is that they think that Juju knee is terrible. Like really? They think that I seen a report today. I think Dove Kleinman retweeted it. Basically, that the Patriots are concerned that his knee could explode at any moment.
Jesus.
Like what? Like what are we talking about here, dog? Like we explode, bro? Like his knees go, like it's done. Like you just paid this man 3 years, $33 million. Listen, I know we got Nate Davis, but at least I feel like he gonna be on the field. He just don't. I really think he don't like the practice. That's a whole different story. That's crazy to me though.
But again, just to wrap that up with a bow, I think they're gonna struggle. And then. Yeah, like I really think their window was closing. The beef they supposedly had with Stephon Diggs, whatever that situation was weird. Yeah. It amounted to nothing, but it's weird. And it's like, hey, if anything, I think there's 2 teams with pressure in this conference to get it done. The Bills are one of them. The Jets, you hope, just because it's Aaron Rodgers, the history behind it and stuff like that. But I think the Bills are on the clock right now to get it done, or they may have to start looking at fire selling. I don't think they can maintain the run they had. And it's a shame because they just ran into Patrick Mahomes. But one season, they didn't even get there.
Like you didn't even run into him enough for me to give you that excuse, right? Like it was supposed to be Josh Allen's. It was his time. He was going to be the next one up. And realistically, we saw a year of it. Joey B took over.
I have to give you this. That's still the best football game I've seen all decade.
Oh,
that Patriots Bills versus Chiefs.
Kansas City. Yeah.
That's the best football game I've seen.
The dumbest thing in the world to me is that they changed that rule because of that game. He shouldn't have got another chance at it. How about your defense get a stop? That's what it is at the end.
What was it? 17 seconds?
Yeah. They couldn't keep up with Travis Kelce. But no, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a player actually that I'm gonna throw on this list that I think is going to struggle.
Individual, okay.
It's not because I think it's my lock for a struggle. And it's not because I think ill of the player. It's not because I think the player is going to fall off. I think the circumstances are set up for him to struggle. And that's Devontae Adams. And now listen, when I say struggle, he's still going to be a 1,000-yard receiver.
That's a fact.
But Devontae Adams is a 1,500-yard receiver at a minimum. He's 15 yards per catch usually. He's a 14 touchdown guy. He's only had 1, 2, 3 seasons in his career where he scored less than 10 touchdowns. And that's because he was hurt one of them and he wasn't really getting that much tick on the other ones. Yeah, I mean, like that's realistically what it comes down to me. I think he's going to struggle though, because I know, right, kids got an affinity for the underdog quarterbacks.
Garoppolo.
I have an affinity for guys. You love you some Jimmy G. You love bringing that winning percentage out. Come on now.
No, I think it's just amazing that he has such a high winning percentage. And when he plays a full season or most of the season, he does win.
Hey, 100%.
I can't fault them for like some people win because of their team and their defense and the situations. You could literally make an argument that they win because of him, and it's like
100%. But that is the main thing, and I believe there's some people that say you can change your future. I believe history tells the future a lot of times, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the history of Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm going to just go from his time in San Francisco because we know the New England thing, right? Behind Tom Brady, you're not getting in the game. Year 1, 6 games. Year 2, 3 games. Year 3, 16 games. Super Bowl appearance. Lose, but Super Bowl appearance nonetheless. Year 4, 6 games. Year 5, 15 games. Year 6, 11 games. This man has had multiple surgeries, multiple injuries that have kept him out till the end of the season. And at the end of the day, I think that you're pairing that factor of his ill health, which has been a problem for him the entire time, right? Remember, I believe it was 2015 when he was with the Patriots, where Tom ends up going out and they looking at him to be the next guy. Jacoby Brissett basically doesn't have a thumb. He's out there playing because Jimmy Garoppolo's too banged up, even though Julian Edelman said basically he could have gone out there and played. But he's too banged up to go out there and throw a football. So, like, this is something that has happened this guy's entire career. You're also pairing that with one of the worst head coaches in NFL history, and that's from a guy who watched Matt Nagy on the field. Like, there is nothing about this situation that I think benefits Davante Adams. Even with everything going on with Derek Carr last season, you still had that Carr to Adams connection for a little bit of time. Davante Adams still was a major piece in that, and he went out there and did his job as best he could. I don't see him being able to do that 2 seasons in a row with the combination of Garoppolo and McDaniels. I think it's one of the worst combinations. We're talking about literally 6 games of this or 7 games of this where we're like, oh my God, they're so good together. But he wasn't the head coach in that situation. I think this is about to fall off a cliff. I think Davante Adams, and here's the problem with it. At the end of the season, what are people going to say? Oh, Davante Adams ain't the same no more. He's lost the step. I don't believe none of that. I think he's going to get up out of there after this season, go somewhere, come to Chicago. We still got money. And he's going to go out there and be an absolute dog. But I do think this season he's going to have a down season. It's going to look bad.
Now, I will say you spit all those facts, and they're facts. But I will say, as you mentioned, first 3 years of his career, Jimmy G, he didn't play because he's behind
Tom.
Tom, we knew what that was. First 2 seasons.
Well, he did play technically. I mean, he got 6 games in, I want to say, every one of those years. But
6, 5, and 6.
Yeah, but you're not right. You know you're not the guy.
So first 2 seasons in San Fran, definitely a wash. He was injured. I give you that. Start 16 games and then go with a 70% completion rate. I'm really big on completion rate. The reason why is because, one, everyone looks at our wide receivers and what their stats are. No one ever, like when it's a bad QB or QB people don't like, they ignore the fact that the only reason why this guy has that many yards is because someone gave him the ball.
Yeah.
You got to run away from me. So, like, you're going that way. I have to give you a ball that's catchable. And we've seen good receivers on teams that did not have good quarterbacks who overthrew them all the time. Stuff like that's not Jimmy G. He's a very accurate QB. We just don't like him. He's given us reason to doubt him. He's been imperfect. He went from one system to the next. He's a very system-based QB. So this is uncharted territory for him, I would say. No one, if anyone wants to argue about San Francisco being a system-based team, like
they've moved on from 2 QBs since he's gone, and they've gone to an NFC title game.
Like argue with your mom on that one. Like the proof is in the pudding, right? Like, so I mean, that's the only thing I would say. But as far as being a pro, a win and a good QB, an accurate QB,
yeah.
Even if you don't like him, even if you don't like the storyline, you can't say he's not. He's definitely accurate. I saw him almost outdo Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, he did outduel Aaron Rodgers technically.
I say almost. I can't say he did. But
he did. They won that playoff game.
I say almost because it's still Aaron Rodgers has his own knock. Like, I mean, for real, he has a Super Bowl and he's been an MVP and stuff like that. But he's disappeared in some moments for me. That's a whole different argument. But
that playoff game is crazy.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that one.
He lost that game at home.
If I have to add one player, then I know you want to wrap it up. if I have to have one player I think is going to struggle this season, I think this is the first time we're going to see Patrick Mahomes struggle. I think that this happened even with Tom Brady. Tom had a moment where he was cooking, and then they had some struggle. People don't forget that. I think they won 3, and then it was like a good, I want to say 10-year span.
10 years in between. Now they still were.
They were still dominant, but it was a 10-year span, and they didn't have the way that they revitalized Tom as he got better was they got Randy Moss. They didn't win that season either. They broke a lot of records, but like even Tom hit a plateau. They were like, all right, we got to get him some receivers.
Yeah. And
he brought in some of those receivers. I think now Travis Kelce is getting a little older. I don't know if they have the right receiving core.
I mean, they really don't have one.
They don't have anybody.
They really have Travis Kelce. I mean, you're still running out there with Sky Moore. Like, I'm not going to say they don't have receivers, but they're not. Pat Mahomes has made his career off of making the non-household names, at least over these last couple of years, household names, right? Juju has a masterful season last year. Sky Moore dominating, a rookie coming in, right? Like there's some names in there that you feel better about. But
did they dominate, or did they benefit from the fact that they're focused on 1 or 2 people?
I mean, I think you still benefit from it. Like I think the thing is, right, is that the Chiefs without Tyreek Hill are the bad.
Yeah, think about it.
It's like the bad boy Pistons. Because as far as receiving cores, right, like you don't really care what the name is because you got one person that's going to bring it all together. Like you don't really care, right? Like I got Pat Mahomes, but like the rest of y'all, like just go out there and as long as y'all can catch the football, we good. Right? Because it's like I just need y'all to do y'all job at a basic level, and this guy will make you look great. I feel like that's what they've been since they got rid of Tyreek Hill. Because I mean, yeah, that receiving core was ridiculous, but then no Tyreek. Tyreek was ridiculous, realistically speaking.
Yeah, I think they're just due for a moment to just sit it down. It's been what 5, 6 straight
AFC title games, 3 Super Bowls at that time. Yeah,
they've been dominant for a while. Like this is a historic run for them. I think they're gonna have to retool and then come back. I think that we're going to see them struggle for this season, Patrick Mahomes specifically. Especially if they don't get Chris Jones to come back in and buy back in.
Are they a dynasty? Like,
I have to ask you that question because football is a lot different than basketball.
Well, I mean, listen, it's the same thing. Dynasty mean you won 2 years in a row to me. Like the Blackhawks to me aren't a dynasty. The Spurs aren't a dynasty.
No, the Spurs are a dynasty.
I wouldn't give you like
Spurs are a dynasty.
Nah,
the Spurs continued. The Spurs are a dynasty because while they never won back-to-back, they were able to win. Like Tim won 4 in 10 years.
Yeah.
And on top of that, never had a losing record, was always a threat, always a legitimate contender.
Yeah, but the thing about a dynasty is there are years of dominance in a row. There are years of being the king in a row, right? The Lakers dynasty, pick which one you want. The Celtics dynasty, the Bulls dynasty, right? Like there were years where literally it was like we didn't beat them. Like nobody could beat them. The Spurs got beat. I feel the same way about football. I think every sport is the same, right? A dynasty means that there were years, and I think to me, I don't have to have I saw somebody say, right, you have to win at a minimum 3 years in a row. That's crazy as heck to me because winning 3 years in a row, winning a championship 3 years in a row.
In football, that's practically
in any sport.
There's only
to
two
me,
teams that have done it, right?
3 years in a row. I know there's teams that have won twice in a row, but 3 years in a row.
I think there's only 2 teams that have done it.
You're talking about the 60s though, right? Like,
well, we know the Bears did it. The Bears did it back in the day. So that's going back to 40s at that point.
I mean, right. Like that's what I'm saying, right? Let me see. I think let's see, who won three NFL championships in a row? The Packers are the only team that has done that. The Bears have won back-to-back, I believe. But the Packers are the only team that have won NFL championships, not Super Bowls in a row. I don't think there's ever been a Super Bowl contender that's won three teams in a row or 3 years in a row. There's been
Cowboys won 2, not 3.
No, nobody's won 3.
Cowboys won 2, Denver won 2.
And so that's what I mean, right? But like the NFL,
roll.
I think the dynasty part is on that. But even in the NBA, like how hard it is to win multiple years in a row, like that's not an easy feat. That's nothing to scoff at, right? Like you literally every team now in the league is looking at you and knows everything that you do, and they still couldn't stop you. Like the Patriots, I believe the Patriots got a repeat in there.
The Patriots and Cowboys were the closest teams. New York won 3 in 4 years.
Yeah.
Between 01 and 04. Meanwhile, the Cowboys won 3 Super Bowl titles in 4 years between. Yeah, so they did. So forgive me. I thought I said 2 teams. I was thinking Cowboys. I thought they won 3 in a row, but they won 3 and 4. So that's on me.
But even that, right? Like that, I'll give you a dynasty.
That's dynasty on that level.
Because in the NFL, it's ridiculous to win. You know how much turnover happens from one year to the next, just among players, right?
You have a good season that everybody wants to hire your assistant coach. Everyone wants to hire your personnel, staff, your trainers, and all that stuff. Like, no, you're absolutely right.
So as good as the Chiefs are,
does conference titles matter that much?
I mean, listen,
I think in football, if you are a lock for a Super Bowl and you've been that good for that long, that can be equate to a dynasty. Like I look at football differently just because of the physicality of it. Like year over year, you don't get like basketball doesn't get hit that hard. Like they don't deal with that level of physicality where you're dealing with that type of deterioration. You know, you could have a star running back one season, but like depending on how much you run him, the chances of him replicating his best season gets slimmer and slimmer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I defer to you on that one. I would say that they are a dynasty, but
well, I mean, listen, nobody's getting
I'm
hit.
A casual fan on that part.
Nobody's getting hit more than hockey, right? Like that's one-on-one. Like I gotta look you in your face and hit you.
But you just said they're not a dynasty.
I wouldn't call the Blackhawks a dynasty. They didn't win back-to-back.
They won 3 in.
Like you think about, like, of course, where do we get the word dynasty from, right? Like that comes down to kingdoms that were in rule for this amount of years. It's not a sport. That was government, but that's number one.
You know what? You're absolutely right. So
when you think about,
they're not a dynasty.
Like there's a lot of teams that I wouldn't call a dynasty that people would say, did they have a dominant run? Of course, I've never take away from the Spurs run. They were dominant, right? You had to worry. The Spurs were a team that you would sit there every year and be like, man, ain't nobody worry about the Spurs. And then you look over and be like, when they get 60 wins?
I was like, dang, we worry about the Spurs now, huh?
Like, when the heck they get them 60 wins, bro? Like that just came out of nowhere.
You didn't care for them, but you did not want to see them.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't think that I would call them a dynasty, but I respect how they won. But like the Lakers, right? Like, listen, you knew at the end of the day, it was Shaq and Kobe. Who I got to stop, Shaq and or Kobe?
You know
how
what?
you gonna do that? I don't
right.
really know.
So it's like saying, well, no, because if you're an AFC or NFC champion, you beat the conference.
You beat the conference, but right, like
now, I'm the best in my conference 6 times or however many times. Is it really 6? I thought it was like.
No, because they lost some of the conference title games, right? They didn't go to 6 straight Super Bowls. They won the conference 3 times.
Yeah, I know people are gonna look at this in the chat like they didn't do it 6 times. Like, hold on, wait, They went to the
AFC title game 6 times. They did do that, but they didn't win it 6 times. They won 3 times. They've been to 3 Super Bowls in 6 years. They've won 2 of them, right? I love the dominance. I love the greatness. I love all of that. But can you call them a dynasty if they don't win back to back? I don't think you can call any team. And yeah, that means that there's fewer dynasties in the NFL. That's just facts, right? Absolutely. Like I can't call a team a dynasty because you had the greatest something for years. I say you had the greatest, listen, the Packers had the greatest quarterback in the league for years. They still didn't.
It was Bengals.
They still didn't win.
Yeah, no, they're not a dynasty. I wouldn't say that they're a dynasty.
That was just a random side question. Like I seen somebody that was saying, you know, that maybe it was First Take, one of those shows that was doing it, and they were like, "Can you call them a dynasty?" And it was like, "Listen, the run is dominant. They got 2 Super Bowls. I love it. If you go out and you win this year, yeah, we have a dynasty conversation.
They win this year, this dynasty conversation.
You go out and win this year, you a dynasty." Because especially right, like with the things you named, Travis Kelce getting older, stuff like that. At the end of the day, we know what the Patriots want to do. Yeah. Pat Mahomes wants to get the football to Travis Kelce.
And the crazy thing is, this is the beauty of what we do now and how many NFL and NBA players are now taking this, you know, opportunity to build their own platforms. We get to hear and understand what a lot of these players are going through. Kelce is actually considering like when he's going to hang it up. So when you're already having those kind of conversations, it's like, yo, this run ain't going, like, Patrick Mahomes is younger than Kelce.
Hey, bro, listen.
He's younger than Travis Kelce, and he's going to play way longer.
Hey, I'm 29. I make sure I walk down the stairs the right way. Travis Kelce, 33, getting hit every time, every day of his life. Hey, he got to be thinking about hanging it up.
He's got to be thinking about hanging it up. He's already going to go down as, if not the greatest, one of the greatest tight ends. Again, he's older than Patrick Mahomes. He's not going to be there this entire time. He may have 2 more years of high-level football at best, this one being the one of those years, and he should probably think about retiring on top. Like, realistically.
I think the question mark for him realistically is, when are the Chiefs going to give up on him, and is he going to retire after that? Because there's going to come a time where the Chiefs are going to look at him and go, I'm not paying you. And it's probably this next contract coming up.
I'll be honest with you. You know, he knows his body better than anything, but the way he's been talking, get your money, play, stick it out with the Chiefs, hang it up.
Hey,
I do not want to see him go out like we've seen some of our favorite players go out.
He going, well, you know, the thing about tight end though, right? Like we had Jimmy Graham, 2 years ago? He still was effective. He still had 9 touchdowns. Now, was he the same Jimmy Graham that he was with the Saints? Absolutely not. But you can still go out there and be effective. The question mark is, did
you take care of your chicken? Because did you protect your chicken so you don't have to be in that position, baby?
At the end of the season, or at the end of his contract, he's making $19 million. I think he plays at least till then. You ain't leaving 19 on the table.
Oh no, he ain't leaving 19 on the table. Hey, but man, I mean, he's doing so. He's such a good personality and stuff like that. We're not going to see the last of him if he does hang it up. But just knowing that them as a unit. You know, and it's crazy how they're so great that we've talked about them in the last 10 minutes or so. But, you know, it's got to come to an end eventually. And, you know, look, Tom Brady won 3 out of 4 years, didn't win none for another 10. That's what eventually has to happen here. Yeah. I'm not saying it's going to be 10 years for Patrick Mahomes.
Positions got the most longevity.
Yeah, for sure.
Your quarterback position's got the most longevity in it. So, yeah, that's definitely going to happen. You know what I mean? But, hey, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, all that good stuff. We got wasn't even planning on getting a show in, left a microphone, got a show in. So, we got that in the way. Yeah, we got that in the works. Appreciate y'all for showing love as always. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. We'll be back tomorrow breaking down more Bears-Packers week. I believe no practice tomorrow for the Bears. I think first practice is going to be Wednesday, even though I don't know if maybe they didn't practice today and they running it tomorrow. But we'll see on that. But any Bears news that breaks, we'll be on that. Bulls news, basketball season, I believe, is 34 days away now. So almost a month to training camp. So we're going to be getting in on some NBA talk as well. I got nothing for you on baseball because Jerry Reinsdorf, either you know what.
Are we going to get the boys over on P.Kidd Talks NBA? That's all I want to know.
I mean, listen, you just got to set it up. I don't care.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I have a debate for
you. Which almost hit 1,000 subs. Very, very exciting over on P.Kidd's Talk NBA, man.
I appreciate that, my man. Thank you.
Hey, man, I'm keeping an eye on you, my boy. We got some stuff in the works. We got conversations. But anyway, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Bear down. Peace.